Have you ever walked into a multi-purpose room to present and thought, I really hope this AV works? Especially if the audience is already sitting there waiting and maybe the layout's a little different than what you were expecting. Well, multi-purpose rooms can be set up in a bunch of different kinds of ways, but the goal is always going to be the same. Clear audio, visible content, and a confident presenter who knows what they're doing. So we're going to talk today about how to make that actually happen. I am here with Sean Thornton, who's going to help us walk through how you can actually set up a multi-purpose room for any kind of event or meeting that you're about to have.
Thanks, Jenna. Really excited to be talking about this. Multi-purpose spaces are something that we're definitely doing much more common every single day. And I personally really enjoy doing them because it allows us to show off our creativity and our design capabilities for every unique scenario that presents itself. So excited to dive into it with you today.
Great. So if you're setting up a multi-purpose room, what is the first thing you should consider?
First and foremost, you want to consider that the layout matches the needs of everyone within the meeting. And that comes down to setting up specific scenarios and programmable templates. So those layouts could include anything from training spaces, town halls, hybrid meetings, video collaboration for those high profile, more intimate settings, as well as workshopping. And that comes down to really the furniture layout. So if you have a town hall space, that's going to be more open, trying to cover the maximum.
A lot of chairs, less tables.
Yes, as many people as possible, maximum capacity. Right. Whereas you're looking at a hybrid meeting, that's going to be a much more intimate setting. So you're probably going to be looking at like an oval-shaped table or round-shaped table to where users can interact and have that collaborative experience. For more of the training areas or those workshop spaces, those are either going to be a classroom style or an open area, depending on how the presenter wants that to go.
Great. So you've got the furniture laid out. What do you do next?
Next step is obviously going to have the right AV for the setup. And that comes down to where the primary focus is going to be for all of the participants within the meeting. Comes down to the primary display, where the camera is going to be located, because the goal of all of these meetings in any environment is to create as immersive experience as possible. So with that, how many displays are in the room? Are there any overflows? Where is the audience going to see content?
So where are they going to be looking for their presentation?
Right. And we want to make sure that people on the other end, on the far end of the virtual meeting, are not seeing the back of people's heads, right? Because that kind of takes them out of it. So making sure that the right camera is selected. If there's more than one camera in the room, you can kind of take things to even the next level.
Great. So if you wanted to share your presentation materials, how would you recommend connecting to that display?
So it's either going to be a hardwired connection or a wireless presentation software, something like a barcode click share where you have a dongle or a screen beam that allows you to present via an application. That's more of the BYOD, BYOM, bring your own meeting, bring your own device solutions. And really it's just about matchmaking and seeing what best fits your scenario.
Is there a certain instance where you'd recommend doing a hardwired connection versus a wireless presentation?
So me personally, I always like to build a hardwired connection into all of our solutions. It's essentially just a fail-safe. Just to where, hey, at the end of the day, at bare minimum, you can still locally present. But there are those scenarios to where we maybe don't have a conduit to the table, to where we can't put an entry point at the table or a wall plate, or it's a large enough space to where the presenter is not going to be located at the same point every single time. So in those scenarios, using a wireless presentation software to where it can move with you throughout the space, it definitely allows a lot more flexibility.
Got it. That makes sense. So audio is probably a big part of multi-purpose spaces. How does this kind of affect the layout?
So each layout is specifically designed for each template, similar to the furniture locations that we were talking about earlier. And it really comes down to the right solution as far as town hall spaces. If it's more open and you're trying to maximum pickup, like we were talking about, you're going to go with more of a ceiling microphone solution. You want something that's going to have great echo cancellation and it's going to have a broad range. For more of the instance, for those hybrid meetings, high profile, high stakes, C-level execs, you're going to want as close to the mouth as possible, especially for those low talkers. And that's where we really see the wired versus or wireless tabletop microphones, or even lavaliers, handsets, or goosenecks, anything like that.
Right. Okay, so we've all had that moment where you go to start your presentation and something doesn't connect. What would you recommend to do ahead of time to set up the room so you could do that ahead of time?
Going through your initial startup, making sure that the system boots up properly, all your devices are connected, all of your participants are where they need to be located. And that really comes down to more of, if you have a presenter in the room, that if there's a podium, if there's a designated spot to where you have the correct camera framing or presets or anything like that. As far as the presentation itself, you want to make sure that the slide deck is ready to go, and that when you plug in, it's seamless.
Yeah.
We run through. You're not turning it on non-presentation mode and kind of looking like you don't know what you're doing. You want to make it as effective and seamless as possible.
Right. So how early would you recommend getting to a multi-purpose room to set that up?
For a standard meeting, I would probably recommend 10 to 15 minutes, pretty much standard startup time. For a larger audience than that, I would probably go on more of like the half hour, 45-minute range.
For a hybrid meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then for those really high profile, high stakes, larger meetings, I would be running tests at least a week beforehand.
So the kind of meeting where you've got the clients coming in or the executive leadership is running at those really big meetings.
Exactly. That only happens a couple times a year, a lot of time and resources being allocated to those. So we really need to make sure that those go off flawlessly.
So if you're testing it a week ahead of time, then what happens if something isn't working at that point?
So at that point, you would reach out to our support team, which we actually just had a scenario about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, where one of our clients had a major event going on a Saturday. And we kind of put our capes on, came through after hours on a Friday night to commission and test the system. Definitely expedited things a lot quicker than we were anticipating, but we were able to come through. And that kind of just gives you a little bit of an outlook to what our capabilities are and how far we're willing to go for our clients.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's like a great example of the kind of support that we can do. So what happens if the layout changes last minute? Like maybe more people showed up than you were expecting and you have to move some furniture around?
Well, a well-designed room is going to adapt with you. And that comes down to the camera locations, the presets, the designated areas where we want the users to be. The framing is correct. And as far as even advanced solutions to make things more autonomous within those rooms, we can be looking at speaker tracking cameras that follow the user, that auto frame, auto track, as well as using advanced solutions like automatic camera preset recall. There's one specifically from QSys that we use pretty often that sets presets on the individual microphones. So when the microphone picks up sound from a seat or person or location, the camera knows to automatically focus in.
Oh, awesome. That sounds like some really cool technology.
Yeah, we've really come a long way as far as speaker tracking goes the last few years.
That's great. All right, so you've matched the layout to the event, your technology is connected, everything's working as it should be. Is there anything you would tell a presenter to do ahead of time to make sure that everything's good to go?
Definitely do a 60-second confidence check beforehand, kind of doing those same prep basics that we had spoken about before, making sure everybody can see you, you can see everybody within the room and virtually can be heard, because audio is just as important, if not the most important piece.
Yeah,
right?
It's always good to ask ahead of time. It's better to ask first than to let it go the whole time and they can't hear you.
Exactly. So it's not, don't feel ashamed to say, hey, you're muted, or is this on? Can everybody hear me? There's no shame in that to make sure everything runs flawlessly. But as long as you have those covered, as well as making sure that your presentation, we talked about the slide deck, making sure that the connection's running through, that there's no pixelation, that everybody can adequately see the content that you're trying to show off. And as long as you have that covered, you should have most of those common issues.
And that's it? Then you're just ready to present?
Yes, exactly. At the end of the day, multi-purpose rooms are meant to be flexible. And that flexibility only works if the room is designed to adapt with you. If you walk into a multi-purpose space and are unsure about the technology, it's not a presenter problem. It's a design problem.
Awesome. Well, if you want to see what kind of difference that we can make in our design, feel free to reach out to us at haverford.com.